If you've ever walked onto a cruise ship and thought, why is this so stressful already? Isn't this supposed to be relaxing? You're not imagining it. The crowded terminal, the chaos at the buffet, the long lines at guest services, even the way people seem to get treated differently. None of that is random. Over the last few years, I've watched how this works from the passenger side and by talking to crew and frequent cruisers who know the playbook by heart. The pattern is always the same. The cruise line wants every cabin full, every guest spending, and as few people as possible realizing how the system really runs. In this video, we're going to walk through the cruise secrets nobody explains on Embarkation Day, like the boarding time that actually ruins your first afternoon, how help is quietly prioritized, and why one tiny survey score can follow a crew member for years. Secret number 1. How your cruise price is decided before you even click book. Before you ever step on the ship, the first game has already started. The price game. Most people think cruise fares are like a fixed sticker on a shelf. In reality, that number is moving around all the time based on how badly the line wants your cabin filled. The website is watching patterns, how many people are searching that date, which cabin types are almost gone, how close you are to the sailing, even which region you're booking from. That's why you'll see the same cruise at 3 different prices in 1 week, and the line won't blink. Then they layer on the extras. The base fare looks great, but gratuities, Wi-Fi, drink packages, specialty dining, excursions, photo packages, all quietly stack up until the cheap deal doesn't look so cheap anymore. The real business model isn't selling you one ticket. It's turning you into onboard revenue for 7 straight days. And those countdown timers and only 2 cabins left banners, they're there to stop you from stepping back and doing the math. The cruise line doesn't need you to get the best price. They just need you to feel like you did, click book, and show up with a credit card ready to tap all week. Secret number 2. The hidden priority system for who gets help first. One of the big shocks for new cruisers is how 2 people can have a problem, and one gets it solved in minutes while the other is still standing in line an hour later. It feels unfair, but there is a quiet system running in the background. Guest services, medical, and security all work on their own version of triage. At the very top are safety and health issues. Anything involving medical emergencies, kids, or security risks jumps the queue immediately. That part makes sense. What most people don't realize is how everything below that gets sorted. Loyalty status, cabin category, and how clearly you explain your issue can all change how fast things move. Suite and top-tier loyalty guests often have a separate line or dedicated concierge. Their problems get handled in a smaller pool with less competition. Meanwhile, everyone else is in the same long snake of a queue at the desk. Then there's how the problem is presented. "My cruise is ruined" is vague and hard to action. "Our cabin AC has been out since last night. We've already tried resetting the thermostat. Can someone check it today?" is specific and easy to log as a task. You can't change the ship's internal hierarchy, but you can make it easier to help you. Be clear, be calm, bring names and times and cabin numbers, and ask for a log or reference of your complaint. That tells the crew you understand the system and that your problem shouldn't slide quietly to the bottom of the pile. Secret number 3. The noise map of the ship you never get to see. When you're picking your cabin, you see glossy photos and a little deck map. The cruise line, meanwhile, has something you don't: a mental noise map of the ship that's been built from years of complaints. They know exactly which cabins live under the pool deck, where chairs scrape at 6 a.m., which ones sit above the theater, where the bass doesn't quit until 11 p.m., and which great location near the action is really code for "you'll hear karaoke whether you like it or not." There are also service corridors, crew stairwells, and storage rooms that never show up in the brochure, but can mean doors slamming and carts rolling at odd hours. Most first-time cruisers just see midship balcony and click book. But 2 midship balconies can be totally different worlds. One under cabins and over cabins, which is usually quiet. Another sandwiched between nightclub and pool machinery, not quiet at all. Same price, same category, completely different sleep. That's why experienced cruisers obsess over what's above and below them on the deck plan. Cabins with other cabins both ways are usually safest. Anything under a buffet, pool, gym, or over a theater is a gamble. The line isn't going to label complaint cabins on the website. Those rooms still need to sell. But once you understand the noise map idea, you stop choosing by picture and start choosing by what's surrounding your cabin, not just the four walls you see in the photo. But if the hidden noise map decides how well you sleep, the next invisible file decides how much they expect you to spend. Secret number 4. How the ship profiles you as a spender before you sail. Long before you roll your suitcase into the terminal, the cruise line has already built a rough profile of you from your booking. Your cabin category, how far in advance you booked, how long the cruise is, whether you added Wi-Fi or a drink package before sailing. All of that goes into a quiet equation. Is this guest likely to spend a little, a lot, or a lot? Book a suite, add the premium drink package, toss in Wi-Fi and specialty dining. The system reads you as high value. You're the one who gets invited to limited tastings, private sales, casino offers, spa tours with extra perks. Book the cheapest inside cabin with nothing added. You're still welcome, but the algorithm doesn't chase you as hard. Now, once you're on board, your onboard account keeps feeding that profile. Do you buy photos, hit the shops, load money into the casino, say yes to the first upsell pitch? The more you swipe, the more the ship learns what kind of buyer you are, and the more tailored the offers become. Now, none of this is evil on its own. It's just how modern cruising works. But it's why you should treat every exclusive invite and today-only deal as a targeted ad and not a personal honor. The ship isn't reading your mind. It's just reading your spending. Secret number 5. The real reasons you should not board before 1 p.m. Here's the part nobody warns you about when they tell you, get to the port early. From about 10:30 a.m. to noon, the terminal is at its absolute worst. The previous cruise is still getting off. People ignore their assigned check-in times because they just want to get on first. Big family groups arrive all at once with strollers, scooters, and suitcases. Security lines stretch forever. Terminal staff are maxed out, and cabins on the ship aren't even open yet. You're not starting your holiday. You're standing in the middle of controlled chaos. If you do board in that window, the ship isn't ready for you either. Corridors are roped off while crew clean thousands of cabins. You're stuck dragging your bags around the buffet and pool deck, which are already overflowing with other early birds doing the same thing. Elevators are packed, people are tired, and the whole vibe is airport during a delay, not relaxing cruise. The wild thing is, showing up early doesn't actually buy you anything. Unlike flying, you don't get a better cabin, a better boarding group, or a faster sail away. Unless you've paid for priority boarding, you just get a front row seat to the mess. So why do cruise lines push early boarding so hard? Simple. Money. The earlier you're on, the more time you have to hit the buffet, order a drink, wander around the shops, buy a drink package, or say yes to the spa or specialty dining upsell. Early boarding is a profit tool, not a kindness. Families with young kids tend to arrive early too. Strollers, diaper bags, little ones needing snacks and naps. But by the time the clock hits around 1 p.m., most of that first big wave is already on board. Terminals quiet down, security lines shrink, and check-in becomes almost peaceful. That 1 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. window is when experienced cruisers quietly stroll in. The ship is cleaned, cabins are open, the buffet is calmed down. Instead of starting your vacation in a crowd with your luggage at your feet, you walk straight on, drop your bags in your room, and actually feel like the trip has begun. Now, if this is already changing how you think about Embarkation Day, hit like and subscribe so you don't walk into your next cruise blind. Because boarding is just the opening move. Once you see how the daily schedule is designed, you'll realize the ship has been quietly steering you toward paid stuff the whole time. Secret number 6. How the daily schedule steers you toward paid stuff. Once you're on board, the real game stops being will you spend money and becomes when will you spend it. Look at the daily planner or the app with fresh eyes. You'll see a pattern. The most obvious, easy-to-join activities during prime daytime slots are usually the ones that make money. Art auctions, shopping talks, spa tours, jewelry showcases, casino lessons. Anything with raffle, free champagne, or win a prize baked in is almost always a sales funnel in disguise. Meanwhile, a lot of the genuinely free, low-pressure things like trivia, quiet live music, craft classes, or lectures often live in awkward slots. Early afternoon when people are in port, or tucked between meal times when you're least likely to notice. There are also dead zones on sea days where not much is happening except bars, casinos, and shops being open. You're bored, you wander, and you swipe. They also love the today-only rhythm. First sea day, huge push for drink packages and spa deals. Middle of the cruise, jewelry and watch blowouts. Last sea day, final chance sales, photo packages, clearance tables. The schedule is less about giving you variety and more about rotating which department gets your attention. Now, the fix isn't to avoid everything, it's to decide what you actually care about before the sales machine decides for you. Circle the free stuff you'd enjoy. Pick 1 or 2 paid treats you really want, and treat every "can I just scan your card" moment as what it is, an offer, not an obligation. Secret number 7. The truth about cabin upgrades and guaranteed rooms. If the schedule quietly steers your wallet, cabin assignments quietly manage the ship itself. A lot of people see the word guaranteed next to a cabin category and think they've hacked the system. Well, I'll pay for the cheapest balcony and the line will have to bump me up if that category sells out. But in reality, guaranteed cabins are a tool for the cruise line, not a hack for guests. Here's how it really works. With a guarantee, you choose the type of cabin, inside, ocean view, balcony, or suite, but not the exact room. The cruise line holds the right to drop you anywhere in that category, or sometimes in a slightly worse spot within it. Next to a crew area, under a busy deck, or at the very front or back where motion is strongest. Those awkward or noisy rooms are the ones they want to plug last, and guarantees are perfect for that. Real upgrades do happen, but they usually follow a different logic. Suites and higher categories get filled first with people who actually paid for them. If there's space left over, or if a category is oversold, the line might move loyal guests, casino players, or big spenders up one level to free space in cheaper categories. That's called revenue management, not generosity. And walking up to the desk and asking for a free upgrade almost never does anything, unless the sailing is half empty and they're desperate to reshuffle. The smarter move is choosing a specific cabin you're happy with from the start, and treating any surprise upgrade as luck, not something you can game on purpose. And if you think those quiet notes are powerful, wait until you see how a single number you tap after you get home can reshape a crew member's entire future with the company. Secret number 8. What the camera really sees and what they don't. If cabin category and upgrades are all about where you sleep, the camera system is all about where you move. Most people assume there are cameras everywhere, like some giant reality show. In truth, the coverage is focused where it matters most to the ship: security, safety, and money. Entrances and exits, gangways, casino floors, main corridors, bars, shops, pool decks, and big public lounges are usually well covered. If something happens in those spaces, like a fight, a fall, or a theft claim, they can often rewind the tape and follow you like a breadcrumb trail. But it's not some live spy drama with a person watching your every sip. Footage is usually reviewed when there's a reason: a missing person report, a wallet that vanished, a guest who says they slipped on a wet floor, or a complaint about someone behaving badly. When that happens, security can piece together a surprisingly detailed timeline. Who walked where, who was carrying what, and whether the story matches the pictures. Now, where there usually aren't cameras is inside cabins and most balconies. That's why what happens in the hallways still matters so much. If you say, "My bag disappeared from outside my door," they'll go back through the corridor footage and see who passed by, who picked up what, and when. The takeaway isn't to feel paranoid. It's to understand that if something goes wrong, time matters. Report issues quickly. Give exact locations and times if you can. And don't assume there's no proof. On a modern ship, there often is. You just want that trail to still be easy to find. Secret number 9. How guests get tagged behind the scenes. By this point, you've probably realized the ship runs on more than just smiles and cocktails. It also runs on notes about you. Every time you interact with certain departments, there's a chance a small comment gets added to your profile. It might be as simple as requested extra pillows, very polite, or as serious as refused safety instructions, or yelled at staff over missed reservation. These aren't gossip. They're how crew on a rotating schedule keep track of what's going on with thousands of people. Those tags can quietly shape your whole week. A guest marked as helpful and kind, tips well, might find crew going the extra mile when something goes wrong because people remember who made their job easier. Someone flagged as repeated noise complaints after midnight or aggressive at desk may still get service, but staff will be more cautious, less flexible, and document everything. And it's not just negative either. If you're celebrating an anniversary or a big birthday and mention it early, that can get noted too. Suddenly, you're the couple the dining room surprises with a cake, or the family the cabin attendant checks in on a little more. Now, you can't see those notes and you can't control what other people write, but you can control the pattern. Be clear instead of dramatic, firm instead of rude, and appreciative when people help you. On a ship where the same faces see you every day, your behavior on day one doesn't stay on day one. It quietly follows you all cruise long. Secret number 10. The survey score that can make or break a crew member. When the cruise is over and that "how was your trip" email lands in your inbox, it feels like a formality. For the people who served you all week, it's anything but. Most cruise lines don't care much about your long paragraphs. What really counts are a few tiny boxes. Overall satisfaction, would you recommend us, and any question tied to service. Behind the scenes, those scores are averaged, ranked, and turned into targets. For some crew, hitting a certain percentage of top marks only can affect bonuses, promotions, even whether their contract gets renewed. Here's the part most guests don't realize. On many ships, an 8 out of 10 is not good. It's basically a soft fail. The system often treats only the very top numbers as success and lumps everything else into room for improvement. So when someone thinks they're being fair, I'll give them an 8. It wasn't perfect. The crew member may feel that as a hit, not a compliment. Now, that doesn't mean you should lie. If something went wrong and never got fixed, the cruise line needs to know. But the fairest thing you can do is this: bring problems to guest services during the cruise, while there's still time to fix them. Give people a chance to make it right before you drop a bad score that follows them long after you've unpacked at home. And when someone truly went above and beyond, write their name clearly. On a ship where thousands of faces blur together, one specific "this person helped me" comment can carry more weight than you'd ever guess. If this helped you feel more prepared for your next sailing, make sure to hit like so more people see it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future cruise breakdowns, and stick around to watch the next video that's already waiting for you on the screen right now. Your voyage is just beginning.